am with the oils. So then we move on. So when I got home, I was still a little dubious about what do these oils do. And a week later, my son had made the tennis team at high school, and the night before his first match, he said, "Mom, I have a sore throat. What do I do?" And I'm like, "Well, let's call Athena." So I called Athena and I'm like, "Okay, my kid has a sore throat. I've got these oils. What do I do?" She's like, "Take some On Guard and put it on his throat." And so I ran in there and put it on his throat, and she's like, "Well, make sure you dilute it." I'm like, "Too late." I'm like, "It's okay, Daniel. It might burn for a second, but it'll go away." And it did. And she's, "Well, go ahead and use it again before he leaves for school in the morning. And if you can get him to stop by your classroom, then have him come in, throughout the day and give him some more." So the next morning he was running out the door, and I said, "Daniel, wait, come get your On Guard." And he said, he swallowed and he said, "It's gone," and ran out the door. I was like, wow. Okay, so it had, with 1 or 2 doses, it had knocked it out overnight. So then and then a few weeks later, I was proctoring the SATs and ended up with a terrible case of the runs like 4 times before I ran out the door in the morning. So, and you cannot be late to the SATs. So I ran out the door and got there, realized that I did not grab the Imodium that I had set out, and asked everyone if they had any. Nobody did. So then I was in a panic and just asked the person that's hired to relieve us to come by every 15 minutes, because what can I do? I've got 25, 30 kids in the classroom, and I cannot leave without someone in there. So as soon as I got into class, then I texted Athena, and what do I do? And she's like, "Take the Digestin and put it on your stomach, like 1 drop every 15 to 20 minutes. So I was like, okay. So I did that, and an hour and a half later, I was in the break room drinking coffee and eating bagels and cream cheese. So that was when it really hit me that this stuff actually works. Before that, I was believing that, okay, well, if it is the placebo effect, and if I can will away an illness, then I'll pay for that. And but then I knew it worked. And since then, I have personally knocked out a UTI before it started going, a yeast infection. I have helped my friends with their 18-month-old with recurrent ear infections, just use Melaleuca and not have to take her son to the doctor anymore for ear infections. Ask me about something and I've probably, helped it in some way. And so my mission here for you guys is to just let you know that there are natural solutions where you do not have to run to the drugstore and drop 20 or 30 bucks every time you have, a cold or the sniffles from the allergies or a tummy ache or the stomach flu, that you can have your own first aid kit right in your house, ready to help your family. Okay, how's that?
Awesome, Diane. Love to hear some comments. Oh, it's a beautiful story. Who has comments? Because I have comments too, but I'd love to hear some other people's comments first. Go for it.
I really like the story, Diane.
I think it was awesome. Thank you for telling it. I would be more affected if, when you were talking about, instead of like listing the things that it helped you with, if you talked about, I don't know, how empowered you feel by being able to address any issue, or I don't know, just the relying on them for various things. I don't know, I don't know the wording or what to do there, but something a little, because I feel like it loses.
Okay, and I guess
it loses the attention when it's more like, oh, and I did this and this and this and this. I do that
gotcha.
all the time. That is one of my big things that I do all the time, and I try to get a handle on it. So I'm a
Okay.
rambler about the things that I like to use them for.
Okay, so let me try this, because here's what I usually tell, and it's kind of and I guess it just depends on what comes to mind, and that is true. I need to get more concise and maybe planned and say, okay, so these are good ones and these are ones that I can just.
Hold on a second, Ian. Before you go there, I'd love to make a story too, because there's something coming up here. So can we just hold on for a second before you start making changes? Okay, Megan, go for it.
Wait, what? You
What
mean
were
my
you gonna
story?
say? No. What were you gonna say?
Honestly, I was just gonna say I really like Diane's story, and I don't know, the part that actually popped out to me that I thought was really fun, and that I don't know, maybe you need to bring it out more or something. But what I thought was fun was when you said, hey, if this is like placebo effect, if I can heal myself, if this is a placebo effect, I will pay for that. And I thought that was actually a really fun thing that you brought out there, and that would have gotten my attention. And so I thought that was a good part of your story, and so maybe bring that out more.
Okay, I love that. Awesome.
I also had one. Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Something that clicked for me, and I think maybe it's because I'm dealing with my own things with it just being so easy around money. I liked that when you said, so when I'm sick, instead of running to the store for, spending $30, and it's so true. Like if your family gets sick, you go to the store and you like stock up on different things, and you're like, you do anything to get, to try to get rid of the symptoms. So that was just a little way that I hadn't really thought about that particular thing. So not that was like some, like, oh, that makes the story so awesome, but it stood out to me and resonated with something that I liked.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, okay, I want to.
What's?
Go ahead. I just want to. Go ahead.
Go ahead. What's your pitch?
So my pitch is, and this
no pitch, not pitch, not pitch.
Oh, pitch.
What is your pitch? What was your darkest moment?
My darkest moment, like when I felt relief from using the oils?
In this story, what is your darkest moment here? I'm going through the categories that we kind of talked about a little bit, and I think it's very important. Like Jen's pit was, oh my goodness, is it worth it doing these dance competitions, right? Because every single time she's so anxious, and it's horrible, and people throwing up, and that's the pit. I could feel that yesterday, right? For Christy, it was my 4 months of having not a period. That's the pit. What's the pit here? It's there, but what is it?
Okay, so there is a pit that I was in, I guess, that I did not even mention, is that I suffered from headaches from probably as long as I can remember, like since I was 18 years old. I mean, daily headaches and I was taking Tylenol and Advil every single day for 30 years. And then I started getting worried about it, and I always had, so I always mentioned it to doctors, and they always said it was stress. And then when I hit around 40 years old, the same age that my mom had an aneurysm blow and ended up with 2 brain surgeries, then the doctors got a little worried. And so I went through all kind of neurological testings, allergy testings, and even had an MRI, and everything came out negative. And then they told me that it was probably the rebound effect from the medications that I was on, so that I needed to take a month and go without absolutely any meds whatsoever, and probably endure the worst headaches that I've ever had for a month, and then I would be free of them. Well, I never found a time that I could have, that I was that I had free time to endure the worst headaches that I've ever had and become incapacitated. So I just kept on taking the medicines and kept on keeping on. And then once I started using the oils, um, and I used the past tense that helped relieve my headaches. I breathed in the peppermints. I used the oils actually to take time out to breathe in and de-stress. And I think that helped a lot. And then I started taking the LLV, which is the Lifelong Vitality Pack, which are natural food supplements that I believe just made kind of helped heal me from the inside out. And then I got to the point where I didn't even realize that I wasn't taking any medicines anymore. And now I can tell you that the last time I took Advil, I was still taking it, once a month, 1 day a month for cramps. But since I haven't had my period for a year and a half now, I haven't had an Advil. And
Okay,
now I do get headaches. How's that?
let me ask people, which story would you be willing to pay $125 for? Which story? If you were suffering of, or which story? Tell me, guys, which one?
Oh my goodness, the second one, that one you just told. That's such a, I was going to have to endure the worst headaches of my life. And that was crippling. And there was no way I was going to do that. Like, that's what I latched on to. Like, ugh, yeah, forget about that. I'll keep taking all my meds. I mean,
Oh my, yeah, absolutely, Jen. Thanks for saying it like that. Absolutely. Yes, it's the second one. The first one, okay, I might be able to pop $20 for that because it feels good, it's nice. This one, you're right. Headaches for 20 years, never been able to get rid of it until you start using the oils. Well, now you got my attention. Now you really have it. Anybody else anything about that? Or before we have that Diane response. Anybody else?
This is Chris. I think that the headache story is really good, but I also think that at the end of it, if she added something that said, it was a journey for me to get to the point where I was willing to try this from the first one, there's some cachet there which says, I didn't start out believing that this was going to work.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So that's a nice combination that Chris just put in. This is recorded, by the way, Dan, so you will be able to listen to it. But that's a nice thing that Chris put in there, because she's right. There was a little bit of a doubtful story in there, and it's nothing bad about actually taking it out. That's the journey. Right, that's the even after you've started trying them, you still had maybe some doubts about that. That's okay to tell to people. That's actually very empowering because that is something they can connect to. Like, well, I'm not sure it's going to work either, but hey, she had that too, so she was doubtful and she wanted to try. So then let's go to that last piece of story, which I interrupted a little bit early, I think, but you could actually add on to that is what is your life now, right? What this was the breakthrough. Now, what is your life like right now with the oils? So I don't know if you want to add that right now or whatever you want to do. Tim.
Well, I think how I can add and just say, okay, so right now I have a means to deal with, a headache if it does pop up, and I don't let it debilitate me anymore. And and since I've been using the Lifelong Vitality Pack, I have energy in the afternoon where normally after school, for years, by 4 o'clock, I was just dead, and I would drag myself home and still have to do, my housework and my kids' homework. And I didn't do the homework, but, and just go on from there. And I was miserable and until bedtime. And now I have energy and I'm going strong until and then I'm usually like going, okay, well, look at me now. And this is like 8 o'clock and, I'm full of energy and
Awesome.
It's great.
Awesome. Okay. Awesome. I love all those things. I want to go to one more person today, but does this help, Diane? Because I think when you listen to back to the recording, it's exactly what Jen said, and you got it with this last piece added to it and a little bit more about how it has changed your life. I would say a little bit more about that in the afternoon is perfect. And then probably a little more. So I think you can emphasize a little bit more about what it's doing for you right now. Perfect. Beautiful story. You would get me enrolled, especially if I had headaches or other chronic stuff. You would get me at my attention. Absolutely. Awesome. Who is the second person? Because I just want to really quick, we may actually go over until next time, until tomorrow. But who was the second person who's going to tell the story? Sorry, you guys. I didn't write it down. Guys, do you remember who was going to be the second person to talk?
I think it was Athena, but I don't know if she's on here this morning, is she?
I don't think I see her. Okay. We had a third person. Who was the third person? You're right, it was Athena. We had a
I think
backup.
I was the backup.
Okay, Megan. Why don't you start? Then we'll probably go with them.
I don't know. All right, we might have to do this tomorrow or something. But so honestly, I don't know much what to do with my story. So again, we may need to do this tomorrow. But
well, maybe that's why I want you to start. Maybe that's why I want you to start. Just go for it.
Oh, okay. That probably will be good because my story isn't. I don't know. I have not gotten clear on my story, and so that's Anyway. So mine is not actually. Hey, did I just see Athena join? Maybe we should go to her.
No, go for it, Megan.
That's okay. Let me just quickly. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
It's weird. I was been on the call the whole time, but for some reason nobody could hear me. I kept trying to talk and add input, and I thought you just didn't. You just kept talking. So now I realize that you can hear me. I just wanted to, before you go forward with Diane, one big concern of mine is compliance. And if she's going to be making a video to put on Facebook or whatever, Diane, my only recommendation is you use compliant language, that you be careful to not, say this healed this or cured that, or, there's just some things, and I'm happy to work with you on that, but just be very careful. Even Emily Wright yesterday did a Facebook Live, and she was reminding us, we still need to be compliant as much as possible if we're doing it publicly versus in a private event. So that was my only input. Otherwise, I loved it, especially the second part. So anyway, that's it. And I did have something ready, but go for it. Tomorrow's another day.
Yeah, Megan, let's just start your story. And thanks, Athena, for bringing that up. Yeah, compliant language. And you can always add compliant language. So I would say, write your story out, then have somebody look at it and change the compliant language. Okay, do it that way. Don't do it the other way. I really don't like the other way.
Actually, you can send it to doTERRA and they will transform it into compliant language for you.
Awesome.
I think it's at compliance@doterra.com. You can send your language for your story and they will happily convert it into compliant language for you.
Perfect.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I'm not exactly sure of the email, but I think that's it. If you look on the doTERRA Business Facebook page, I think you could probably find it there.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. And I'll look it up, or somebody can look it up and put it on the Facebook page.
I think I know where it is. It's where doterrauniversity.com was. I think we still have a way to get to it. You go under the business section and there's a whole section on compliance, and that's where they have how to do compliant language, and they also, I believe, have the email to get someone to look at it for you.
Awesome. So let's do that. Megan, we have 1 minute. I just want to get to you for 1 minute because there's something you can prepare for tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll do Athena, and then we'll do Megan after that, and then somebody else who wants to go after that. But go for it. Maybe Chris. We'll see.
Okay. No, that's fine. So like I said, having a little trouble with it just because my story's not based on a physical issue. So when I got started with the oils, I was very healthy. Well, and I still am very healthy. I haven't had any major health issues throughout my life, and so I never really struggled with anything health-wise. And so the oils didn't really spark with me at first. I used them for different things. I definitely warded off UTI, used them for colds, and things. And so it wasn't anything dramatic really, but my transformation actually came about through the business. So and I've had a little bit hard time sharing that with folks, I guess, because most people, they want to know, do these oils work? And for me, like at first, I know they work, But my real transformation came through the business and through sharing these oils, because that really pushed me to my edge. That really forced me to stand up and to change. Whereas, just using the oils health-wise, I was like, well, that's dumb. Of course they work. That's just a given. That's not even a question, really. Like, they're good. Although I will admit, because I didn't have that dramatic experience physically, I kind of questioned them. I was like, well, they seem good. I'm definitely feeling good. But because I already felt good, it didn't stand out to me that much. And so over time, what I found is that with the absence of them, like I know I can definitely tell the difference between not using them and when I use them. And so in that case, yeah, that's kind of been my thing. But really, it was the business and sharing the oils with other people. That's what really brought about emotional healing for me with the oils. And then from that, yeah, came a lot more, I guess, a lot more usage for me. So like as I started to really love the oils and sharing them with others, I don't know, like that was really what made me love them. And I really started using them a lot more, especially for the emotional aspects. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome. Let me, I'm going to just cut you off because of time, but push to my edge. That is the one thing, that's the phrase I have. I don't know if you guys have picked up anything from what Megan said that you would like her to prepare for tomorrow. Is there anything in what she said? The words for me was being pushed to my edge. Would love to make for you a story, because that's the one I felt the energy. Everything else felt a little bit like blah, blah, and then pushed to my edge. That's when the emotion came in. That's when, for me, the like, oh, now it's pressing my interest. Well, how was she pushed to her edge? Anybody else, anything else that came up for Megan for tomorrow, so she can prepare her story for tomorrow? Anybody else want to say something?
Don't apologize about not having a wow experience with the oils, because I think that draws attention to it more, and it feels very low energy. So just you could just start with a business. I was introduced to the oils, and what I found was a life-changing opportunity that has blown me away. You don't have to apologize or explain. Just don't even go there.
Awesome. Good point. Good
Yeah,
point.
Nice, I like
Megan,
that.
I'd like to know, why did you, maybe who introduced you to the oils, and why did you think this would be a good thing to start using, or a good thing to start sharing? I mean, there had to be a reason that you said, okay, this, I want to do this. Why is that?
It
Yeah.
was me. It was
Yeah, I like
me
that.
and my skills of convincing Megan.
Memory was all
And Megan,
fault.
you have gone through this beautiful transformation. I would absolutely focus on that.
Okay. That was beautiful, Jen, and Athena, and everybody else spoke, Diane too. That was beautiful. So think about those. We need to stop. But when you said you have gone through this beautiful transformation, Jen, yes. Don't apologize. Yes. Start a little bit talking about how you introduced. Yeah, maybe a little bit, but mostly that transformation, right? That's what it feels like for you. So I was pushed to my edge. That beautiful transformation. Yes. Okay. Does it help you for tomorrow?
I do have one thing, is what I heard in your story was kind of like when people start exercising. They don't really see any change until they take a break and they realize how far they've come.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I heard as the underlying theme of what you were saying. You started doing it because you thought it would help, and then you realized how much it helped when you backed off for a while.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Okay. And Megan, anything else you want to say about that?
No, that's great. I think, again, like, I haven't known quite how to talk about it because, like, and I've definitely touched on it with folks, but I've focused a lot more on a physical story, trying to pull something out with that, but it hasn't felt as strong. And so I know that my story definitely needs some tune-up, definitely needs to be worked on there, because I guess in my mind, the way that I felt about it, I was like, well, people want to know, do these oils really work? And for me, I guess there was a little bit of a discrepancy there, because I was like, well, does really sharing that, hey, sharing these oils has really been the change for me, not so much the oils themselves. Like, the oils themselves have done good, but again, it was more so, being pushed to the edge with the business and stuff, and really having to rise to the occasion and do something I've never done before. And so in that case, I was like, it wasn't so much the oils, but just sharing the oils, like, which doesn't, I don't know, it never quite jived with me to share it that way, I guess.
Awesome.
How
Well,
about
listen,
Own it,
Megan? How
Megan.
about
Own it.
listen.
pulling a
Yeah, own it.
story or two about a success that when you started sharing them, I mean, the reason you continued sharing was because you'd give a sample to somebody and they'd come back and say, hey, I love this, it works. Then maybe you've got a couple of, you know, and how that made you feel.
Yeah, that's kind of the interesting part for me, is more so seeing how it's worked for other people. Because honestly, yeah, I don't have those dramatic experiences, but whenever someone asks me about the oils, I usually end up sharing other people's experiences. So, yeah.
Okay, Megan, I would write down every single thing that has been said in this call. Like I said, there is a recording and I'll post it soon. Write down every single thing because I think the suggestions have been beautiful. Jen actually popped in there for a second and said, own it. And she's right, own it. Own your story. So stop that's the biggest thing I wanted for you to put out for tomorrow. It's own your story.
It's okay to borrow testimonials. It worked for somebody and it's working for you. It's just more subtle. It doesn't have to be a aha moment. I like how she's, I can't remember who said it, but how she said, you know, it's more of you notice when you're not doing it because it's become really a part of who you are. But definitely borrow testimonials is perfectly okay.
Okay,
Awesome.
we need to stop, but I'm gonna kind of wrap it up. So thank you guys. This is awesome. I felt a really warmth in my throat when we were doing this. This is so beautiful, guys. As a group, we're doing this so beautiful right now. So thank you. It warms my heart to see us all coming together and helping each other support and helping support Megan and everybody else on this call too, with Diane as well. So thank you for that. Let's just close. I'll see you tomorrow with Megan and then. Athena first and then Megan, really getting their stories out. Keep on developing your story. Keep on inviting people to develop their story. Talk to your team members about this, okay? Talk to your people about this, what we're doing here. I'm definitely going to go another week with this. There's no way, probably another 2 weeks, because this is it. This is right now. This is it. I feel like this is where we're going a beautiful way with our stories and saying it and speaking it. So. Kind of put some oil on your throat if you can, because some of you feel like it's a little bit there. Develop even more of your story if you've already spoken it. Your story, really start saying it more. If you haven't developed it yet or you haven't spoken it yet, start working on it as well. In the next 4 days, I would like everybody to have a chance on this call to speak their story. So get ready for that as well in a very beautiful way. So. That's it, guys. Love you. Have a wonderful day, and we'll talk tomorrow morning. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.